Lev Parnas was the centerpiece of a bomb-throwing congressional hearing on the Biden impeachment inquiry this week. Joining me now for his first extended interview since that feisty hearing is Lev Parnas himself. Mr. Parnas was a former associate of Rudy Giuliani's. He was also convicted of campaign finance crimes, wire fraud, and making false statements. He later spent 20 months in prison and wrote a book called Shadow Diplomacy. Sir, thanks so much for staying up late and joining us tonight. I want to start just with the heart of the matter here. Do you believe that there is any legitimacy to the Biden impeachment inquiry at all?
Thank you for having me, Abby. Absolutely not. What they showed yesterday was what this is all about. It's a political play. It's a sham. It was a kangaroo court. And it's just embarrassing to see our country go through that right now.
Anything at all that you heard during that marathon hearing that you thought was worthy of further investigation by Congress?
Well, there's a lot that needs to be further investigated. I mean, the first person that needs to be investigated is Bill Barr. Bill Barr has his fingerprints all over this, and I've been saying that this since my arrest going back to 2019, and I think the world has now seen to what level of corruption Bill Barr has held at DOJ. I think the special prosecutor that Bill Barr hired needs to be in front of Congress also, and I think we need to get to the bottom of this. What was the cover-up? Why are they hiding the evidence? What are they trying to hide? Because the bottom line is the crimes that are being committed by these Republicans trying to win an election for Donald Trump.
Well, let me ask you about some of your involvement in all of this. You were Rudy Giuliani's fixer in Ukraine. A lot of the unproven claims that we hear about almost every day by Republicans and that voters are hearing about if they watch conservative media, they started with you and with Giuliani. So do you feel responsible for giving Republicans this ammunition to amplify these potentially unfounded claims about President Biden?
Absolutely, Abby. Absolutely. That's why, I'm doing what I'm doing. I mean, this is not fun stuff. This is something that, I'm putting my own life in jeopardy. I'm putting my family in jeopardy. But I think the most important thing that I could do to make amends because of my responsibility in this whole thing is to get the truth out and expose these criminals and cowards for what they are and what they're doing.
You said that you have put your life and your family's life in jeopardy. Have you received specific threats recently because of this testimony or your role? What are they?
Well, not since the testimony. I haven't had a chance. I haven't been home yet. But about a month ago, 3 weeks ago, I had to get the authorities involved because of certain death threats, and they found out where I lived and got my personal phone number. So the authorities are dealing with that. But, I get constantly on social media and, nonstop, but this was something more already that hit close to home.
I want to play for you a tense moment that happened yesterday at the hearing between you and the Republican witness who's a former Hunter Biden business partner, Tony Bobulinski. Listen to what he said.
I think it's laughable that the Democrats are asking Lev Parnas to weigh in on my credibility, a convicted felon that served jail time. I have an impeccable record. Now, he warned me earlier in this hearing that they're coming for me. I
didn't warn you. I said just keep talking. You'll be there soon.
I look forward to that, Mr. Parnas.
Keep lying. You'll be there soon.
Well,
Is that a threat, Mr. Parnas?
No, it's just the truth.
So he's raising questions about your credibility. So, I mean, I have to ask you, because when we introduced you, we explained that you had been convicted of lying. Why should Americans believe what you have to say now when you were involved with this in the past and you have been proven to be willing to lie in the past?
Well, thank you for that. I did lie in the past. I've done a lot of bad things in the past in my life. I'm 52 years old, and I've made mistakes. But since my arrest, the past 4 years, since I've used that time to, reflect and understand and become a different person. I'm a different father. I'm a different husband. I'm a different human being. Since I left the cult of Trump, I've been able to open up my eyes and realize what really is out there. And when we go to truth, again, I went under oath to testify. if you lie to Congress or you lie under oath, I mean, that's you're risking 5 years in prison. So, I gave the Congress 8 hours of my time, an opportunity for them, which are, you have some of the most experienced lawyers up there, congressmen, that had their opportunity to rip me apart, to show me as a liar, like they say I'm a liar, and to show the whole world that I'm a fraud, and then file criminal charges. But they didn't. They didn't because they know I'm not a liar. They know I'm telling the truth. They know that because they're a bunch of cowards. I spent 8 hours there. They haven't asked me one question. Instead of asking me one question that was pertinent to anything that I did in Ukraine, what they did do is they tried to do a show by having their heavy hitter, you call him, Matt Gaetz, another clown, that came in towards the very end and tried to impeach me by saying that I'm a criminal. But then let's take a look who their star witness was. A guy that's doing 15 years in prison and testifying out of prison. So they want you to believe a guy that's in prison that's telling you Joe Biden's corrupt, but they're telling you I'm a criminal because I've served my time, I've made amends, and I'm not only telling you, but I'm bringing the receipts to prove what I'm saying.
Can I just ask you though? I mean, one of the things about this is that your awareness is of the Ukraine side of this. Is it possible? I mean,
Correct.
Tony Bobulinski claims that he knows things about the China deals. Is it possible that you simply don't know what he has that might be evidence in this case?
Oh, absolutely. And I said from day one, I didn't come there to testify about China. I didn't come testify about Hunter and whatever his problems are. I came there to once and for all put an end to the sham impeachment of Joe Biden. That's what I came there to explain, that nothing happened in Ukraine, because this whole thing didn't start from China, didn't start from all of this. It started from Ukraine. All their witnesses were from Ukraine. We're getting Tony Bobulinski on the 24th hour, basically coming in because all their other witnesses are either in jail or hiding or being prosecuted or wanted.
So with all that being said, do you suspect that there is an active, ongoing Russian effort to influence the 2024 election?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we haven't seen anything yet. I promise you, mark my words, that the next 6 months we're going to see a lot more, because this is the most crucial election for Vladimir Putin. His life, his reputation, I mean, everything that he's done, I mean, this is it. If Donald Trump doesn't win, Ukraine succeeds, Ukraine wins. If Donald Trump wins, we have a different world that we're going to look at. Millions of people are going to suffer.
So did you find in your investigation, I mean, you spent a lot of time at the behest of Rudy Giuliani looking into this stuff. When you were looking into whether Joe Biden was involved in corrupt dealings, profiting off of his family's business dealings, did you find any evidence that the president was directly involved in his son's business dealings in Ukraine?
Absolutely not. On the contrary, I mean, I was given all kinds of bank records. I was given all kinds of wire transfers. I was led to all these things. But then when the actual transfer to Joe Biden or the actual receipt, it never came. It was all, yeah, okay, money came from Burisma. Yes, I saw money come from Burisma to Hunter Biden. But there was no ever link to Joe Biden. And that's the whole situation. And every time we would find something and we would come back with a dead end, we would be led to go to a different way, to a different path. But the interesting part is that every path we went, all the sources of that information eventually came out from Russia, Russian agents, even Ukrainians that were peddling this information for their own purposes, not because they were against Ukraine, because they were doing it because of their own greed for political purposes.
So, you know, this
eventually
whistleblower
realized.
Yeah, well, this whistleblower who was recently just arrested by the FBI, Alexander Smirnov, do you know him?
No, I've never met him.
And according to this indictment, he made all of these claims about Joe Biden, and it came straight from Russian intelligence officials. From what you've read about him, presuming that you have, do you see him as a Russian intelligence operative? Does he bear the hallmarks of someone who has that role?
Absolutely, but you have to understand, not a Russian operative where, you know, he was trained by the KGB and he's a hardcore Russian asset. No, I don't think that's what he is. From reading the indictment, I have a pretty much good idea of the people involved with them. I can't disclose it now because of certain active things going behind the scenes, but as far as him, he was probably a businessman, the way I see it, that was greedy and used his position with the FBI to try to maneuver and make money, and got himself caught up in a situation where the people he was working with eventually, got to him because of his position and made him, an offer he couldn't refuse. And I'm sure it was financial to go out and put this information, this false narrative, to the FBI.
So Rudy Giuliani, he is still parroting all of this stuff that you say is completely false. And these are the same claims that are being broadcast inside of Congress. What do you think is going on with Mr. Giuliani right now? Does he really believe this stuff? Is he in too deep that he can't back away from it? What's going on here?
He definitely doesn't believe it. He's definitely way too deep in that, there's no way out. But the interesting part, just think about it, Abby. Rudy could say I'm a liar all I want, but I'm here and I'm telling the whole world. Any day, anytime, I'll bring my facts. Let Rudy bring his facts. I asked for him to be in Congress also. The Republicans don't want to. Just think about it. The Republicans are refusing to subpoena Rudy Giuliani to the man that originated this the man that brought this, all of this information that supposedly has everything on it. They won't even bring him to testify. And the other thing is you have to understand, just think about this other thing, Abby. Donald Trump, he's a coward. He showed to the whole world he's a coward. He could tweet or he could respond to an 86-year-old lady or a 16-year-old girl, but he doesn't have the courage to respond to me, even after I went in front of Congress and explained everything that he was doing. The reason for that is because it's a tactic that he's using, Ron DeSantis used, and a bunch of these Republicans are using, is to try to deflect and bury this information and not give it a spotlight, so this way they could change the news cycle and people forget.